Good morning and welcome to Western Nurseries, Lincoln. Today you will find me in our greenhouse because we are actually experiencing some welcome rain at the moment. But despite the fact that we can't be outside, I am here today to talk to you about plants that are blooming at this time of year here in July that are also attractive to hummingbirds. In front of me, I have a selection of perennial plants, one shrub, and a vining plant to give a selection of what we have for these types of plants that attract hummingbirds. One of the things that you will notice if you look carefully at the flowers, and this is what is attractive to hummingbirds because of their physiology, they feed while on the wing for the most part. It's tubular flowers, so they can easily feed. They're adapted to pollinate plants that other insects or pollinators can't get to so much. Coming from Europe as I do, they are something really exotic to me, and a lot of them, yes, do live further south. And we are lucky in that we have one species, the ruby-throated hummingbird, that does come up all the way to here, even into Canada. But most of the adult diet is nectar from plants like these that have long tubular flowers. So they are wonderful. They are really tiny. They are the fastest. They have the fastest wing beats of any flying bird, and they are small. I've yet to see where my hummingbirds nest. I know they nest somewhere on the property, but I've never yet found one. The nests are evidently the size of a walnut shell, which means they're no bigger than that. So moving on to the plants themselves, I want to showcase ones that are blooming at this time of year. Obviously, hummingbirds usually arrive late April, and they start leaving sometime in September. But we have a wonderful selection of plants that are flowering now that you could use to attract hummingbirds. And while hummingbirds predominantly attracted to bright red and pink and that, it's not the only color. They do look for those tubular flowers from which they can feed with their long tongues. So in front of me, I have a selection of, well, there's one shrub at this time of year, perennials, and actually a vining plant, so that you can see that it doesn't have to be annuals or perennials. You can have a mixture of plants that will still bring them to your yard. The first one I have here is a late blooming deciduous azalea. This is Weston's lemon drop, so one that it was actually bred by Weston's nursery. It's one of the last ones that's blooming in the yard here, but azaleas which start in the spring, they are something that are attractive to hummingbirds. So this is the one shrub that I could demonstrate to you that is blooming now. This particular azalea is one of the larger types in that it grows to be up to about 10 to 12 feet tall. It's deciduous, so it will lose its foliage in the fall, but you'll get usually a nice colorful display of red fiery tones before that happens. Moving on, I have here a vining plant. This is a cultivar of a native vine, trumpet vine, Campsis radicans. This particular one is summer jazz fire. So summer jazz fire has been bred to still have those beautiful blooms, but just not grow as vigorously as the native vine. The native vine can grow to about 20 feet high, tall, long, or whatever. You do see it in people's yards. They've trained it along fences, and yes, it's quite vigorous, similar in a way to wisteria. But these cultivars have been bred to be compact, so that people with average sized yards can manage to grow them. And if you were to look closely at this plant, all of the tips, if they're not blooming now, they will be over the next few weeks. So you can see the perfect color and shape of flower to attract hummingbirds. And the same can be said for the perennials I'm going to talk about here. Now, this is just a selection. Bear in mind that there are plenty of perennials, native and non-native, that hummingbirds feed on. They're not that fussy as to, you know, it's got to be a native plant or anything. So the first one I'm going to talk about is daylily. I happen to choose this one because it is a deep red color, but that doesn't mean if you've got daylilies of all the other colors that they come in, the whites, the yellows, the apricots and pinks and whatever, that they're not going to be attractive either. So daylilies come in various sizes. This is a somewhat medium one. They're taller. They get their name, I'm sure you're aware, that each flower only really lasts a day, but they produce multiple flowers on each stem, and it will last quite a period of time before the daylily finishes flowering. And some of them are actually bred to be reblooming, so they will do a round of flowers, they will take a brief break, and then they'll come back and flower again. So you can get pretty much all season bloom from daylilies. And they also have differing bloom periods. Some start earlier than others, some are later. You know, daylily is a fantastic plant, a great doer anyway, but it does have the advantage that it can provide nectar for hummingbirds. Moving on from the wonderful red daylily, the plant next to it is a late blooming Penstemon. This one just happens to be blooming. And I just wanted to point out, you know, obviously this one is a cultivar, but we do have plenty of native Penstemon, the Penstemon digitalis, for example, with its pale pink flowers. They are all hummingbird attractants. While that one is just pretty much finishing the end of its bloom period, again, you can see the wonderful trumpet flowers, and it is something that provides nectar for the hummingbirds. It's pretty good it's a sun lover, pretty easygoing, tolerates a reasonable amount of dryness once it's established, as does daylily. Of course, daylily is a really tough plant for full sun. It will bake in the sun, it will keep going. So beautiful drought tolerant plant, as is Penstemon there. So I'm going to move on to my remaining two perennials. The one at the front is a hosta. And actually, again, of course, we've got the tubular flowers. We don't get any red ones with hosta. If anyone could breed a red-flowered hosta, well, they'd make a fortune. But the flowers are in shades ranging from white through lavender to a light purple usually. But again, they are attractive to hummingbirds. So this is one for those of you who garden with shade. And then moving on to the last one, this particular variety is fairly tall, and it is one of the most well-known Crocosmias, the variety Lucifer. It is that brilliant orangey red there. And again, it is one for the hummingbirds. Again, tubular flowers in their favorite color. So it is another great plant for sun, reasonably drought tolerant as well, coming from, I believe it's South African, but coming from a part of the world where it is hotter and drier. Interestingly enough, while we call it a perennial, it is actually a type of bulb. It grows from what we know as corms. So you can plant it, you can buy it in the spring as little corms to plant. You know, you don't have to buy it like that, already grown and blooming, but that makes life a lot easier, and you can already see what you're going to get. I also now want to move on to plants that you will find in our annual yard. Some of them are truly annuals. Some of them are actually perennials from warmer climates than here, or some of them are actually perennials, but because we buy them in small sizes, they end up in the annual yard at this time of year because they also look fantastic in containers. So welcome back to this second part of the Hummingbird special, and I have in front of me a few plants from our annuals yard. Again, you can see for the most part we have the bright red and dark pink coloration going on, and a lot of tubular flowers as well, although obviously tubular isn't always a case, as in this little one here, which I'll get to in a minute. I'm going to start with what many of you will recognize here is Canna Lily. It's tropical, so it can't survive our winters, but given the heat and the sun that we've been having recently, it loves that sort of weather. And as you can see, it's got several flower spikes of beautiful red flowers. If you look at them closely, they are really tubular. It's a little hard to see because the tube doesn't hold together, so to speak. It's mostly sort of flower petals arranged in a tubular fashion. But this one is red. Obviously, they come in shades of yellow and orange. As I said, they don't survive our winters, but if you wish, when it comes to the fall, the foliage dies down, just like dahlia tubers. Dig them up, let them dry out a little bit, store them somewhere cool, frost-free, and just make sure that they don't dry out completely. And you can restart them again the following spring. You don't have to give up on your canna lilies if you don't want to. Moving on, I have, well, on this side of me, this is an annual tobacco flower, Nicotana. Again, we've got beautiful tubular flowers. You really need a long tongue to get in there to pollinate this particular variety. Some of them have shorter flowers. They range in colors from the white of this through various shades of pink and maroon. This particular one, while hummingbirds can pollinate it, it's white for a reason. It emits its scent in the evening. It's looking to attract nighttime pollinators and certain moths that will also have long tongues to reach the nectar. I will point out that with some plants that have long tubular flowers, particularly things like the fuchsias here, I've noticed that some bumblebees are quite clever. They might not be able to get up inside the flowers, so they nibble a little hole up the top there, and they get to the nectar by cheating. It's fun to watch how inventive insects can be at times. So having mentioned the fuchsias here, these are well-known shade-loving plants, predominantly for hanging baskets. This one is drooping a little bit because it's so laden with flowers, but this is more of an upright one, and it is a very pretty combination of the deep coral flowers and the dark green leaves, which on their underside, along with the stems, are a beautiful burgundy color. So it's a really nice color combination. Next to it, I have a variegated one, and this is a trailing form. So this is one that you would have in your hanging baskets, and with the little tiny red and purple flowers, perfect to attract hummingbirds. And by having them in hanging baskets, it also means they're often at our eye level, so it's easier to watch the hummingbirds. So moving on from there, I have in front here a plant that we treat as an annual here in the northeast. It's Angelonia. It is a tender perennial, so if you live down south, it will overwinter in your yard. But Angelonia is a great doer as an annual plant. You can see it produces spikes of plenty of flowers. They last for a long time. They just keep going. If you were to look closely at this one here, we can just see there's little side shoots coming out. So once this main spike is finished, there's going to be more flowers. Once we get them in at the beginning of the summer, they will keep blooming all the way through to the frost. So they are great for containers. You know, you could even put them in front of borders, whatever. Again, they come in shades of white, pinks, and purples predominantly, just to prove that hummingbirds don't have to always have red. However, talking of red, This one is pretty stunning. So this is an annual that we sell here. Its botanical name is Kufia, and normally we also have, I can't remember its full botanical name, but the firecracker plant, Kufia, or cigar plant as it is known. And I'm sure you will have seen that at our nurseries. It's lots of little tiny orangey, yellowy white tubular flowers, those tubular flowers again. Even though this one looks quite different, it's still tubular if you look at it sideways on. So this one is a particular favorite of mine, simply because it's got that stunning bright magenta-y red going into the purple there at the back. So another hummingbird favorite. This one grows not much taller than that. We might get a few more inches height-wise out of it. It will sort of relax a bit, so to speak, spread a little bit, but it's an upright plant, basically. Then the last one is Pentas. Again, it's a tropical perennial, so we treat it as annuals here. It is a great doer. It loves the sun and the heat. Again, you can see lots of little tubular flowers. So again, attractive to hummingbirds and other pollinators. It comes basically, yes, it does come in white as well, pinks, reds. And I was just reading about them yesterday, not that I've yet to see them, but it seems that somebody's developed a slightly trailing version. So it would be lovely to see a hanging basket version of that in the future. I nearly forgot this little baby here. Sorry, because this one is actually a perennial. But this year we have had quite a selection of Hummingbird Mint in our annuals yard as well as down in our perennials. The main difference between them is the size of the pots. So this particular one here is in a 4-inch pot, and it gets its name Hummingbird Mint for obvious reasons. It is also a long bloomer. Most of them that we have are hardy to our region here, and we have a great selection in at the moment of different types of Agastashe. This one is a beautiful combination of soft peach with pink buds. They are a member of the mint family, so just like any plants in the mint family, they like drought, they're long blooming, and they're great for pollinators. So this really does get to the end of my particular talk on hummingbird plants. It's not everything that you could be growing at this point in time. This is just a snapshot of this time of year for hummingbird plants. We have 3 other retail locations, Hopkinton, Chelmsford and Hingham. And if you're not able to get to one of our locations, we do have our farm-to-door option where you can go online and purchase without even leaving the comfort of your own home. And if you choose the right moment, we might actually have some special deals that you can take advantage of. So as well as the stuff that we have in store, where we also do have occasional sales and bargains to be had, the same can be said for our farm-to-door program. So check us out. Visit us at westonnurseries.com.